when I was playing sports, for example, one thing that I started to not like about being a professional athlete, at least in my experience in my position that I was in, and this is not the same for all athletes, but in the position that I was in, there came a point where I realized that I was on the wrong side of this equation that I'm describing to you right here. I was on the selling side, but the problem was I was in a buyer's market. As a professional athlete, you are almost always in a buyer's market. Let me not say always, because there are some exceptions. I'll tell you about the exceptions in a moment. I was not one of the exceptions. I was one of the rules that I was in a buyer's market, meaning there were more people in my position trying to sell themselves into a job as a pro athlete, in other words, trying to get hired to play, than there were available roster spots, which means the teams who were hiring players like me got to be very choosy about which players they picked, because for one spot, there might be 100 players trying to get the job. So they could pick whichever one they wanted. And us 100 who are all trying to get bought, we're waiting there hoping to get chosen. And I realized that at a certain point in my career, about halfway through, I realized that this is the way that the game was set up. And I realized that based on who I was and my pedigree and my track record to that point, as long as I stayed a professional athlete, I would always be on the wrong side of this equation. I did not like being on the wrong side of that equation, which is why I started to look at other alternatives, which led to me creating what became Work on Your Game, incorporated the business itself, not the slogan or hashtag, but the business, because I realized that I would never be on the side, I would never be the buyer if I was in trying to be a professional athlete, just hoping that somebody chose me.